lessons called From Nature's Alchemy. So I invite you to come into Nature's Alchemy, where we explore natural healing with crystals, plants, and herbalism, essential oils, and the many ways that Mother Earth provides for our healing and well-being. So today, my lesson that I prepared for you is 7 essential crystals to begin your collection. Now, there are thousands of minerals and crystals to be had. And so it can be pretty daunting when you're just starting out to where you're going to start. So I've chosen these 7 crystals because of their versatility, their ease of, their inexpensiveness, and easy to find. But you know, if you're led to something else, like if you go to a crystal shop and something just calls you, then you should get that one as well. But we're going to just talk about some 7 basic crystals that are very common, but that are really versatile, and they do a lot for us. So the first one is clear quartz. I know everybody's familiar with clear quartz. It is considered the mother stone, and it was thought by scientists to be that the Earth's crust was made up of about 25% of quartz, but now they're thinking it's more like 35%. So most minerals are made up of quartz, or the chemical formula is SiO2, or silicon dioxide. And we are crystalline beings too. We have many minerals inside of us, including quartz, in our bodies. So quartz is an extremely powerful healer, and it's also an energy amplifier. So it absorbs, stores, and releases and regulates energy. So when you hold it, it doubles into your biomagnetic field. So that means your biomagnetic field is your aura and the 11 other layers. So there are 12 layers to your biomagnetic field. And it takes the intent of the user to the most perfect state possible for your highest good. I have some quartz crystals here that I do want to show you. There are other things I want to talk to you about, but I do want to show you. Here is a Quartz Point. Okay, there we go. And that can stand up by itself. Okay, that's one. Here's another one. This one is a double point. This is actually really cool. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. There you go, a double point. This is considered twin. It's a twin, like a relationship twin, like a twin flame quartz crystal. And then this one is considered generator because all of the facets meet at the top. I'm hoping that you can see that. Okay, so those are some quartz crystals. Now, of course, you can buy the tumbled ones also. Those are they work just as well. All quartz, actually, all clear quartz will do the same thing, but it just depends on whether you like the natural crystals, or you want polish, or you want the rough. You can buy quartz in chunks also. So other things that it does is it connects the physical dimension with the mind. So it's really good for meditation. And it's a huge information store. Quartz has a huge capacity to store information. I'm sure you've all heard of a semiconductor. A semiconductor is which stores your memory on your devices, all your electronic devices. It's a synthetic quartz crystal. So 1 micron thin slice, which is thinner than a hair, can hold terabytes of information. So as do the quartz crystals, quartz also enhances metaphysical abilities and helps you attune to your spiritual purpose. So those are some of the qualities of quartz. Now, what do you do with it? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do. One is that if you're having a really rough day and you're feeling out of sorts, you can take 2 quartz points and place them in your hand with the point of your non-dominant hand facing you and the point in your dominant hand facing out. Okay, so it's facing out. And then you just hold on to them and sit for a few minutes and just breathe and meditate on the energy of the crystals. And that will balance your energy. because you have different channels of energy going around your body. And from your dominant hand going up your arm, across your body, and then down your non-dominant hand, it's actually a circle. So when you hold the two quartz crystals, it completes a circle and balances your energy. So that's one thing that you can do. Now, just keep in mind also that quartz is an amplifier. So in other words, it adds to or makes bigger whatever it touches. So if you have like an infection or a tumor or something that you don't want to be bigger, you don't want to use a quartz crystal to heal. You want to use other crystals that will shrink the energy, which are usually black, brown, or red stones. So you got to be careful when you use quartz. So some people, you put a quartz crystal by their computer and think that they're absorbing electromagnetic energy when it's actually amplifying it. So there are other crystals that are used. So don't use it for that. But if you're, if you you just want to feel better, a quartz crystal is the best thing to hold on to. You can put it on your heart chakra. You can put it on your third eye or your crown, just to help balance your energy. So it's really good for that. And they also are very good for meditation, and it's associated with all the chakras, but more so the crown. So it does help you connect to your higher guides, the spirit and angelic realms, and your higher self. So that's a little snippet about quartz. The next one that they chose is rose quartz, and I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with that. And here's a piece of rose quartz that I have. I hope that you can see the color. It's really pretty. It's almost like a dark pink. I think you can see it down there. But this is a big chunk of rose quartz. Rose quartz typically grows in a vein. It's very rare for them to grow in crystal form. In fact, it's extremely rare. So if you ever get one, it'd be very pricey, but if you can afford it, it'd be worth buying. You can also buy tumbled stones, rose quartz tumbled stones. I have a few here. I can show you. Let me see. Here's a rose quartz tumbled stone. Okay, this one is about, a little bit bigger than an inch. This one here is almost clear. You can actually see through it. I think you can even see my glasses through it. But it is beautiful. And then here's another one. Okay, that's another rose quartz tumbled stone. So rose quartz is associated with the heart chakra. It's the stone of unconditional love and peace, and most importantly, for healing the heart and the heart chakra. It actually heals a broken heart. And when you have a broken heart, your chest hurts. I mean, you actually feel like it is pain. So if you lay a rose quartz on your heart chakra, right in the center of your chest, and just lie down for about 30 minutes, it will help with the pain. It will help to heal your broken heart on a lot of different levels. So it's really, really good for that. It's just a wonderful emotional healer, physical healer, mental healer, and spiritual healer. It also will support an existing partnership. It restores trust and harmony. So that's another thing that rose quartz will do. And it also helps to release unexpressed emotions and heartache. So if you are going through a breakup, or you've lost someone dear to you, or you have lost a family pet, you can use rose quartz to help that healing and bring, excuse me, 1 second. Bring up that healing. And so you can express those emotions instead of keeping them down in you, which will tend to hurt you more and poison you in a lot of different levels. So it helps to transmute the emotional conditions that no longer serve you. Another one is it soothes internal pain. It also heals deprivation, and like you feel like you've lost something, and opens the heart to becoming receptive to love. All right. It also comforts grief in times of breakup, and it teaches you how to love yourself again. That's the most important thing after that, because you always second guess yourself. You say, oh, it's all my fault. It's not. It's both of your faults, or it's none of your fault. but it still helps you to learn how to love yourself again and forgive whatever you need to forgive. It encourages self-forgiveness and acceptance, and it's excellent for trauma or in a crisis as a rescue remedy, providing assurance and calm. So let's say something shocking happened, put a rose quartz in their non-dominant hand, or just any hand, it doesn't really matter, or just put it right on their heart, and that will help to calm them down and lower that intensity. So those are the things that we can do with rose quartz. And plus, you can put like this big chunk that I showed you earlier. This is really suitable for putting in the bedroom right next to on your night table. It creates peace and love and serenity. So that's another thing that you can do with rose quartz. Okay, so the next one is going to be amethyst. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that beautiful purple stone. Some people don't know this, but it's the official stone of AA, and it's worn to prevent drunkenness. Now, a little bit of a story behind that. The Romans used to make goblets out of amethyst and thought that if they drank out of amethyst goblets, that it would prevent them from getting drunk. I'm really not sure how that legend started, but that's what they thought. And so AA took that as their official stone. So amethyst encourages selflessness and spiritual wisdom. It also enhances all of your metaphysical abilities, all your clairs, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. I can't remember the rest of them, but there's like 7 of them. So it enhances all of those metaphysical abilities. The reason why is because your third eye is right here. And if you go right straight through to the center of your brain, and you flip your head over, you can see this walnut-shaped gland called the pineal gland. And the amethyst actually stimulates that. And that is where your intuition sits, is right in the pineal gland. So it's excellent for metaphysical abilities. It's also very good for meditation, and it's good for astral travel if that's something that you're interested in. The amethyst will help you to connect, and it's good for dream recall and visualization as well. So if you're going to astral travel, that's a really good stone to use, is amethyst. It also helps with transitioning through death. When my father was ready to pass away, my daughter and I went over there and we placed amethyst all around his bed, or like next to him, like in a circle, just to calm him down because he was breathing so heavy. He wasn't conscious, but he was like panting. And so we put amethyst on him and around him, and it calmed him down, and he passed that night. So it's really good for that. If you know somebody in hospice, or somebody's ready to cross over, amethyst is a really, really good stone to let them hold, or to put on their chest, or to put under their pillow. It will give them peace and calm. So it's a really good stone to have. The other thing that it does is it balances your emotions, your lows and your highs. And one other thing that it does is very special, is it protects against psychic attacks. Now, I don't want to really go into this right now. That's almost its own class. But for instance, like if you're around some people and there's a person that just sucks your energy dry, I call them energy vampires. They just go and they just take it all in and they don't give anything back. So amethyst will protect you against that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. I want to really get into in depth on psychic attacks because there's many levels of that, but that is one way that you can use an amethyst. When I was doing shows, my family and I, we had rock business for many years, and we were doing shows, and I wear amethyst necklace every time because people would always come up to our booths and just ask questions all day long. By the end of the day, I was like, blah, blah. So I had to wear an amethyst. I wore Chevron Amethyst, 5 pieces going across, because that's the best for psychic attacks or protecting against people, sucking you dry. So Chevron Amethyst, or another word is called dog tooth amethyst. But I do want to show you a few pieces here. First of all, this amethyst is a tumbled variety. And okay, So that's just a piece of tumbled amethyst. Now amethyst grows in veins also, but it also grows in points. And this is an amethyst point. Okay, I'll hold that up so you can see it. All right, it's about maybe a little bit, a little more than 2 inches long. And yeah, can you see those rainbows? Yeah, there's rainbows in there. And then this one is a little bit bigger. This is really beautiful. It's about 3 inches long. I'll turn around a little bit so you can see it. Oh, okay. So these are amethyst crystals. And I also have another piece here, which is very special to me. And this is amethyst druzy. What druzy is like, this would be the inside of a amethyst vein. Like sometimes they grow hollow. So what happens is the quartz, the amethyst, which is a type of quartz, grows inside, and you can see down here, this is all quartz, so it grows on top of that. And then this is just a matrix they put that on there so that it holds it together. But if you can see all the individual crystals, they're growing in different directions. Like these here are growing this direction, these are growing this direction, and then these are growing up. So it's quite a very cool piece. But druzy means that it's got little teeny crystals that you can't break off. Like these would not be considered druzy because you could break them off from the bigger piece. These are, really can't do that or you ruin the piece. So that's called an amethyst druzy, but that's another way that you can obtain amethyst. But if you're doing meditation, that'd be kind of big to plunk on your third eye. So, you could, use something like that, or even the tumbled stone, like to lie down and meditate, would be perfect. Okay, let me see. So that's how you would use amethyst. You would use it basically for meditation, opening your metaphysical abilities. Now, one thing about amethyst is that it opens your pineal gland. It really opens it up. Like if you use it a lot, it opens it up really wide, and a lot of people aren't used to that. So they get what they call a third eye headache. And so what you have to do is you've got to take its complement or opposite stone so that it closes up the energy instead of adds to it. So you take a piece of carnelian and you put it right here on your third eye, you lie down for about 10 minutes, and what it does is it shrinks and closes down the energy of the third eye so that your head's not pounding anymore. So that's a really good trick. And in some of my other classes, I teach about that and about the complements, but that's just one of them. There are 3, and then the heart chakra doesn't have a complement because you don't need to add to the heart chakra. Okay, so that's amethyst. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is citrine. Now, citrine carries the power of the sun. It's a third chakra or solar plexus chakra crystal. So it's very active. It's a regenerator and a cleanser, and it's energizing and creative. So it also attracts abundance because of its active nature, and it encourages sharing what one has. It also imparts joy when it's held because it's like the energy of the sun, so it makes you happy. And especially if you find one that has rainbows in it, oh man, that's like the best. That's like the happy stone is a citrine with rainbows in it. If you can find one, you definitely need to scarf that one up. So all the other things that it does is if you have a big enough piece of it and bring it home, if you're having issues with arguing at home and things like that, it actually helps to smooth out family discord. It also reverses self-destructive behavior. So if you're if you bring home a big piece of citrine, leave it in the living room and just see what happens. And it will eventually it'll calm things down. It's amazing how crystals work like that. The energy is just amazing. Let me see, what else can I say about it? Well, it assists it assists you on acting upon constructive criticism. So, the ego sits in the solar plexus, and the ego doesn't like to be criticized. We don't like to be told that we're not doing it right. So what the citrine does is it allows the ego to calm down a little bit and accept that self-criticism or accept the constructive criticism. All right, because sometimes we got to hear the truth, and it's not easy to hear the truth, but the citrine will allow us to accept it a little more. So that's something that you can use the citrine for. It also allows your natural wisdom to emerge. It balances your emotions because this is where all your higher emotions set. Your base emotions are in your sacral chakra, which is your love and fear. But all your higher emotions, like everything in between, sits in the solar plexus. So let's say you got anger, you're upset, and where do you feel that? You feel it right in your stomach. It tightens up. You're like, "Argh." That's why, is because all those emotions sit right there. So it balances all of that. So it also helps with self-esteem and personal power. It gives you sovereignty. Sovereignty means that you're the king or queen of your life. You got to be number one. All right. You can't be number two. A lot of people put their relationship as number one or their kids as number one. But if you don't have it in you, if you don't love yourself, you really can't love someone else unconditionally. And you have to love yourself unconditionally. So that's where that comes into play, is learning how to uh, give yourself self-care. Okay, so that's how you use citrine. Oh, that's right. I forgot to show you some. Now, there's two kinds. There's the natural kind, and then there's the heat-treated kind. Now, if you go into a crystal shop, most of the time, you're going to see this, okay? You're going to see that. That's heat-treated citrine. In other words, it started its life out being this. And then it got, see, this is, oh, got it. See, if you look at the shape, you can see that the shapes are pretty similar. It's just that this one is not tumbled and this one is. But what they do is they take all of your like B and C grade amethysts, the ones that aren't good enough to sell like this, and then they take them and they throw them in an oven at about 600 degrees centigrade for a few hours, and it goes from purple to yellow. And a lot of times when you look at these stones, you can see little flecks of purple. I can see them, but you probably won't see them on the, on the screen. But sometimes you can really see them. So, but the color is important. See, color is light, okay, and so it's very high frequency, so it is important. So if its color is yellow, you can still use it for the solar plexus chakra. It's not going to be quite as powerful as the real stuff. So here is a small natural citrine crystal, and it looks just like a quartz crystal, except that it's yellow. Okay. And I want to show you a couple more. Now this one is natural. This is not polished. Okay. These are citrine points, and see how dark they are? So there's a lot of variation in the color. These are smoky citrines, but you can still see the yellow in them if you look. There we go. So you can see the yellow. But these are smoky citrines, and this one actually has some rutiles in it. I know you really can't see that, but this right here, those are little shards of rutiles going through the point. And then here's another one. Okay, and this one's a smoky citrine also, but you can see it's yellow cast. See behind my fingers, it's kind of yellowish. So these are natural citrines, and they have a lot more energy than these heat-treated ones. But because it's yellow, you can still use it. It's just not as powerful. But natural citrine is a lot more expensive than the other stuff. So if this is what you can afford, just get this, okay? Don't worry about, oh, it's not perfect, okay? You can still use this. I set up a crystal grid for prosperity, and citrine is the money stone. So I use these on my crystal grid, and they work fine. So don't worry about not getting that. But if you can get the natural stuff, then it's worth getting. So definitely get the natural stuff. Okay, so that's citrine. Now the Okay. The next one I want to talk about is green aventurine. Now, green aventurine is very, very common, and it only grows in veins. So you're only basically, you can get the natural stuff, but most of the time you're going to find it tumbled. So his is green aventurine. Okay. And then I'll show you another piece. This is also green aventurine, right? And if you really can't see it on the screen, I'm sorry, unfortunately, and my green screen is wavering. I apologize for that. But when you look at green aventurine, you can see little teeny flecks of mica in there. And that's how you know you've got green aventurine. So you just have to look really close, or take like a flashlight and shine it on there, and you'll see the little flecks of mica. So green aventurine is a very common crystal, and it's not that expensive. If you're paying more than $3-4 for a piece of tumbled aventurine, then you need to leave that shop because they're charging you way too much. But if it's a really nice piece, you know, the quality, the more higher quality, of course, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But basically, green aventurine is very easy to get. Every crystal shop I know has it. So what's really good about green aventurine, it's a heart chakra stone. And it's a comforter. It's an all-around healer, and it brings well-being and emotional calm. So if you're having a really rough day, green aventurine is a really great crystal to hold on to or to place on your heart chakra, because it will calm you down, and it will give you a little more peace. So it's really easy to use. And like I said, put it on your heart chakra, or just hold it in your non-dominant hand. Now, if you're a right-handed person, that's normally your left, and if you're a left-handed person, that's normally your right. Now, of course, I'm an exception to this rule because I'm very left-handed. I am so left-handed that my left hand is non-dominant, but I feel everything with my left hand. So that's an exception. So wherever the energy comes in more, like if you put two crystals in your hand and you feel it on one side more than the other, that's your non-dominant hand, because that's the energy that's coming into you. Remember I showed you about the two quartz crystals to put on your hands, one on each side, and you face one in and one out, where you're making that circuit. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're putting two crystals in your hand, and you're feeling which one you feel more strongly. So that's how you figure out what your non-dominant hand is. It doesn't mean it's your lesser hand. It just means that it's the passive energy coming into your body hand. That's why it's called non-dominant, because the other one is if you put that hand out, you can feel the energy get it going out your palm or your finger, or you have a wand and you point it, your energy is going to go out the point. So gotta be careful with point those wands. Okay, another thing that green aventurine will do was it helps you to figure out exactly what makes you happy or unhappy. So it actually helps you decide in your heart what it is you want and what it is you don't want, and very clearly. Okay, not everybody knows very clearly what they want. They just know what they don't want. So if you know what you don't want, you can turn that around and say, well, if I don't want this, this is what I do want. And that green aventurine will help you to do that. Another thing that is also a stone of prosperity. Green and yellow stones are money colors. So green aventurine also a good stone to keep in your pocket or your coin purse or cash register if you have a business. Citrine is also another really great one to put in there. We usually keep both. We had a shop, and we had our rock business, so we always kept those stones in our money boxes. And it was sometimes if we forgot or we left them out, we didn't do as well that day. So they really do work. So definitely use it as a stone of prosperity. It also helps you to develop compassion and empathy, and it protects the heart physically as well as emotionally. It's kind of just like what rose quartz does. So it protects your heart from physical issues as well as emotional issues. So if you let's get back to the broken heart. If you have a broken heart, you don't have necessarily just use rose quartz. You couldn't put green aventurine on there too, and that will help also. That will actually make it more. They work synergistically because they both know that they're heart chakra stones. They have awareness, just not the same as ours. Okay, so that's green aventurine. The next one I want to talk about is black tourmaline. Now, black tourmaline is one of the grounding stones, and there are many black stones. Was going to talk about obsidian, but I think black tourmaline, a lot of people are more familiar with black tourmaline. So, but obsidian works the same. I can talk about that in just a moment. And in fact, I have a piece over here that I can show you. But black tourmaline is very grounding. And if you're having a lot of stress, like if most people are always up in this part of their body, that's why they're always unbalanced. So the root chakra kind of suffers a lot. So what black tourmaline does, it helps to balance those energies. So it takes you out of your head more, and it gives you a little bit more peace and calm. It calms you down and relaxes you and gets you out of the anxiety and the what ifs, I got to worry about my kids, I worry about my husband, I worry about my wife, I worry about the business, I worry about the dog. So it can be overwhelming. So these crystals are really good to hold on to when you're having that kind of day. So I want to show you two black tourmaline crystals. These are what they call double terminated. See, there's a point on each end. Okay, you don't always find them like that. Sometimes you find them big pieces. A lot of times they have mica on them. Here's another one. They're almost like twins. They're pretty much the same size, but they're really nice. They're very heavy. Most black stones are very heavy because they're iron based, and that is what connects them to the Earth's energy. Because when we say that they're grounding, what we mean by that is that they're connecting us to the Earth's energy again, and it goes through the root chakra and all the way down into the ground. To the Earth Star chakra. The Earth Star chakra is about 1.5 feet past your feet into the ground. So root chakra stones help you to connect to that, so that you're feeling balanced. You know, it's all about balance. Everything is about balance. So if you use the crystals to balance yourself, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more in control. You can be able to think more clearly, and you're going to be able to breathe better, and you're going to be able to listen to your body more. So it's really important for you to ground. It really is very important to ground. There are other ways to ground, but black stones really help. So black tourmaline balances the chakras, all the chakras, and auric bodies, which are all of the layers, the 12 layers around our body, and it forms a protective shield. It's like almost like a very gentle force field. So what it does is, if anybody's trying to hurt you psychically or anything like that, it actually blocks that and returns it to the sender. So if you're wearing a black tourmaline, it's really good if you're feeling attacked psychically or emotionally. You know, people have been feeling that a lot lately. These are really good to carry. Not necessarily like a lot of women wear crystals in their bra or up a high. I would recommend grounding stones to be placed in the pocket or on your wrist, because you need it to be close to the root chakra. If it's too far away, it's not really going to affect it. So you want to place the crystals as close to the chakra that you want to affect with the crystals as possible. So that's why putting them in your pockets, that's where the root chakra is, where your hips are. Okay, your hips and your tailbone. So if you put them there, it will definitely help a lot more than if you wore it around your neck. And one thing I want to say about crystals, grounding stones, a lot of people wear obsidian and all that kind of stuff around their neck. Well, one day I was at a show. Well, it was actually an open air market, and this girl was wearing this big black stone around her, I mean, right here in the center of her heart chakra. And she was complaining about how tired she was, and she was feeling really grumpy, and she just, you know, was really distressed. And I looked at her and I saw the stone. Excuse me, I'm running out of lube here. I saw the stone and I said, what is that? She goes, obsidian. I said, why don't you take that off and wait about 20 minutes and let me know how you feel? So she took it off and she came back later and she goes, oh my God, I can't believe how much better I feel, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's going on and on. Well, what happens is the grounding stones close your energy down, especially your heart chakra. I mean, you don't want to mess with your heart chakra. So you don't really want to wear grounding stones too long around your neck. I mean, you can, but you got to be really mindful of how you feel so that you don't get to the point where you get too grounded and then you're unbalanced again. So then you have to take it off and you got to wear, like crown chakra stones, hold a crystal quartz on your head, or, wear it around your neck or something. But you don't ever want to unbalance yourself like that. So you got to be very mindful. But I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. Like I have an obsidian palm stone here that's absolutely gorgeous. And this is big. I mean, that's really big, and looks like a flying saucer, I think. But this is solid obsidian, and obsidian works a lot like black tourmaline, except that black tourmaline is a crystal, and obsidian is a volcanic glass. So these black tourmalines, these have definite uh, molecular shapes inside of them, crystalline structures. Black obsidian doesn't. So it's a volcanic glass. So glass, when you melt down quartz, which is what obsidian is, it's liquid quartz, and you cool it down really quick, that's how they make glass. The molecules don't have a chance to arrange themselves as silicon dioxide quartz crystals. They don't have a chance to arrange themselves because they cool down too quick. So it creates obsidian. And obsidian is more like, because it doesn't have regular crystalline structure, I call it a renegade because it's very powerful. I mean, like really powerful. So if you're not used to using it, it's one of those crystals that help you to see your stuff, but it hits you upside the head with a 2x4 instead of tapping you on your shoulder with like all the other obsidians, you like snowflake or mahogany or silver or gold sheen. They'll go, hey, 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 you need to look at this stuff. Obsidian goes, bam. If you don't look at this stuff now, you're going to be in big trouble. That's what it does. But it doesn't judge you. It gets your attention. But if you're not ready for it, you really got to, not play around with it too much. But it's very good for protection also, and it is incredible for grounding. So I didn't write it on my paper or in the lesson, but I did want to tell you about it because people are very familiar or they know about obsidian, but they really don't know how to use it. So obsidian is very protective, especially physically. It will protect your house. It will protect people that want to come in. If you have a person that walks in the door and you have a big piece of obsidian, let's say in the middle of your living room, and somebody walks in and they're like that, they probably have a hard time getting through the door because black obsidian recognizes that and goes, oh no, you're not coming in here, you know. And that leads me to my next crystal, which is selenite. And selenite is interesting because if you put obsidian in the middle of your living room, that helps to prevent mean people coming in your door. But what the selenite does is it actually has selenite is named after the moon goddess Selene, so it has that very calming, very ethereal, beautiful, really wonderful energy. And so if you put a big piece of selenite like this in front of your door or right next to your door, then when you have those grumpy people walking in, they walk in and all of a sudden they go, oh, I'm feeling better. I wonder why that is. It's because of selenite, because selenite actually transmutes that kind of stuff. So this is a big, very big, this is a big piece of selenite. This is probably about 14 inches long. It's also called satin spar. It's a type of selenite, and this is called satin spar. Some of the other pieces of selenite, let me just show you right quick, and then I'll go into what all it does. It's an amazing crystal. This is something everybody needs to have a piece of selenite, as I believe that everybody needs to have a piece of rose quartz and a quartz crystal. So selenite you can get raw. Okay, here's another little piece of selenite. This is a little selenite wand. It's about an inch and a half. And then I have a 5-inch wand. Now you can use these. See, let me get into it later. Let me show you all the other things that I have. Um, this is also a selenite wand. It's called a pencil point, okay, because it's sharp like a pencil. And it's about 6 inches long. It's about half-inch wide. And then you also have these massagers. And these are really good for when you want to do acupressure, or you want to get into, a muscle that won't let go. But see, what's good about selenite is that selenite will remove pain. What it does is it increases the vibration of the tissue that it touches, or it also increases your vibration so that your body can heal itself. See, one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that we vibrate we vibrate at a specific level. Well, not we vibrate at a range between 62 and 70 megahertz. A megahertz is 1,000 vibrations a second. So we vibrate between 62 and 70 megahertz on a good day. Most of us are vibrating at the lower end of that. When you have a cold or something like that, a virus or anything like that, you're vibrating at about 55 megahertz. And then if you have a debilitating disease, then you vibrate about 40. And then when you're ready to cross over, you vibrate at about 20. So what happens is when you hold the crystal, and this is going to be in one of my other classes, but when you hold the crystal, it raises your vibration up so that the higher you vibrate, the healthier you become. And that's what selenite does. So you could take, like this is another palm stone, and of course it has a point, so you can get into the acupressure if you want, or you could just hold it. I mean, it feels good in the palm. But what you can do is you can place it on wherever it hurts. Like for instance, you have a bruise, or you twisted your ankle, or even broken bones, or you have went for surgery. You can take the selenite and place it right there, and in about 10-15 minutes, it'll remove the pain. But what it does, it raises the vibration up so that the tissue can heal itself. And that's how I help. And I'm going to go into that more in depth in one of my next classes. But I just wanted to let you know that's one of the things that selenite does really great. I mean, I just love this stuff. Another thing that it does, a lot of people are under the impression that you have to cleanse your crystals. You have to put them in water, stick them in moonlight, all that kind of stuff. They like that and they love that, but that doesn't really retune them back to their original frequencies. See, all crystals have a specific frequency. All right, like quartz vibrates at 32,768 megahertz. That's really fast. But sometimes it gets out of tune, like a piano gets out of tune, not where it like absorbs all this negative energy. I'm going to get into that in another one of my classes more. But just to let you know that it needs to be put back to its original frequency. So selenite, because it's such a high vibration stone, it's the highest one that we know of, it will actually do that. So you can take even a small piece like this, put all your crystals in a bowl, plug this in the middle, and about 20, 30 minutes, they're happy again. Now you can leave it in there. They love selenite. They could stay in there forever, but they will retune themselves so that you can reprogram them to use them for something else. So that's another thing that selenite really do. Now, some of the metaphysical properties of selenite is it gives you clarity of mind because it is a crown chakra stone. It connects you to angelic consciousness. So if you're meditating and you want to connect to the angelic realm, selenite is great to put on your crown chakra when you're lying down meditating, or if you can, sit up and hold still, which I can't. Uh, you can put it right on top of your head, or you can hold it if you want, but it's better to put it at the crown chakra if you're trying to connect to those levels. It also stabilizes and disperses erratic emotions. So it calms you down. Like I said, you put a big bar of selenite by your front door, and it will calm people as they come walking in your house. So that will do the same for you. It will calm you down and relax you. It also brings about consciousness and understanding of what is taking place at the subconscious level, because we don't really tune into the subconscious too much, and it gives you insight and discernment into those realms. So it's a really great thing. I just love selenite, and it's just really pretty, and it's fiber optic too. So if you put a light down here, you can see it all the way up at the top. So it's really kind of cool to get one of those little light boxes that change colors and put a piece of, like, a selenite tower on it, and the whole thing will just light up. And it's really pretty cool. So those are the 7 crystals. Now I'm going to go over them with you again real quick. Clear quartz, rose quartz, amethyst, citrine, green aventurine, black tourmaline or obsidian, and selenite. So I hope that you enjoyed and got a lot out of this class. I'm hoping that that will help you start on your journey towards crystals. It's a wonderful journey. I've been doing it for a very long time, and actually since I was a little kid, and I always wanted to pick up rocks and shells off the beach. And so my collection just grew into a business, and I learned so much just, talking to people and, being with them and answering their questions. And, it was just a really rewarding thing for me. So some of the classes that are coming up, the next 6 classes, the next one I'm going to be talking about black crystals. And I am going to go over in depth with you again with the obsidian. I'm going to talk about jet, newelmite, and several other dark crystals that you can use and why they're important right now, especially in these times where we really do need to keep grounded and keep a level head. And so I'm going to be talking about why you need to have grounding or black crystals with you. My next class after that, number 3, I'm going to be teaching you how to use essential oils safely. I'm certified in essential oils. I guess it's essential oil practitioner, I guess, or what do you call it? There's really no certification in the United States for essential oils. There isn't in other countries, but in the United States there isn't. There are like governing bodies that you can get certification from, but basically it's you study and then you can call yourself a essential oil practitioner. Now you can be certified as an essential oil aroma. You can be certified as a clinical aromatherapist, but that's in a whole different level. That's where you treat people for ailments and things like that, and that's possible too. So I'm going to teach you all about safety, how to use them safely, and I'm also going to give you a few diffuser recipes. And I think I'm going to give you, there's a couple other recipes in there somewhere. I'm going to toss it. Oh, making 10 milliliter roller bottles. You can buy roller bottles on Amazon pretty cheaply, and you can fill them up with oil and then put the essential oils in there and take them with you wherever you go. So I'm going to teach you how to do those. My 4th class, I'm going to talk about herbs. Now, herbs have been used for a really long time to heal and maintain health. So I'm going to teach you how to make a tea infusion, a tincture, and a honey pills. And I'm going to give you recipes. So we're not going to go into any herbs in depth. That would take a lot of study. And so I think it would be prudent if we just talk about how to make them. And then all you need to do is figure out which particular herbs. There is so much information, and there's some excellent books out there, and several academies. Like I'm taking my classes from the Herbal Academy. I'm studying to be an herbalist. In about 6 months, I'll have my herbalist certificate. So I'm not going to go into in depth in specific herbs. That's something that you want to do research on for your particular needs. But I'm going to teach you how to make 3 basic herbal medicines that you can use for you and your family. And also, I'm going to give you recipes. So that's going to be a fun class. The fifth class is going to be how do crystals help us heal? And I did touch on that a bit when I talked about selenite, but I'm going to go into more science about the vibration and all that kind of stuff. So it's not all woo-woo esoteric stuff. You're going to learn why and how they affect us, and you are going to learn about a little bit of science. So that's going to be a very interesting class. The next class, number 6, I'm going to be teaching about gem waters. Me, I could drink my crystals? Well, no, not really, but you can infuse the water with the energy of the crystals and drink that. And I'm going to show you how to safely do that. Most crystals are toxic, so please don't just take a handful of crystals and plunk them in your water. Don't do that. If you want, you could do quartz crystal or rose quartz. Those are safe, but until you take this class, please don't do that. I'm going to show you how that you can use any crystal, including the toxic ones, to create a gem water that you can use for healing. So that's going to be a really cool. And I'm also, of course, I'm going to give you recipes on how to put things together. When you put things together, it's called synergy. And all the pieces parts work better when they're together than when they work apart, especially even crystals. Crystals, herbs, essential oils, they all do the same thing. They get together and go, oh, I know what we're supposed to do. And then it just enhances their properties. So that's what I'm going to do, is give you recipes as well. And then the last class is going to be on how to choose your crystals and developing your intuition with them. That's going to be an interesting class because there's a lot of ways to choose your crystals. But the best way is to use your intuition, because what you're doing is you're connecting to your higher self, and you're going to get the message from the crystals, but you're not going to miss the message. If you don't connect to your higher self, the crystals are there. They're going to get your attention and go, hey, you go into a crystal shop and all of a sudden one just flickers at you, or you pick one up and it won't let you put it down. It's getting your attention. Okay, so you really got to listen to them. And that's important, to listen to the crystals. And I'm going to show you different ways that you can tune in to be a little more open and aware. So that's all I have for you today. Again, thank you for coming to Nature's Alchemy, where we explore natural healing with crystals, plants, and herbalism, essential oils, and the many ways that Mother Earth provides for our healing and well-being. I will be guiding you through these methods that you can use to recruit these allies and receive their help in bringing the body back into balance. So thank you again for coming to my class.